Welcome back to Runabout Revival. In this episode, we're diving deep into the engine bay once again, as I continue the mission to clean up, simplify, and streamline our build. A well-organized engine bay isn't just aesthetically pleasing, it makes working on the car easier too. Join us as we tuck, reroute, finesse, and unite form and function. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Runabout Revival. Alright, well, it's the weekend again, and did a couple things. The engine cover opener, and replaced this cable because it was just rust basically. The casing had popped off of it. It was a little gritty and loose, so I just replaced it with this brand new one. I'm actually going to tuck it, so I went ahead and marked in the car where I'm going to go ahead and tuck the harness under. I don't know if you can see it. There's a big black Sharpie mount, and then in the center of that, I've already punched a hole to start drilling tomorrow. So the bracket goes here on these two bolts, and then the cable's gonna tuck right under here. So I got some grommet kits here. I think I'm gonna use this size near the engine compartment where the actual latch sits on the inside of the engine compartment. I'm gonna drill a hole out and use a slightly wider grommet so I can run that through there at an angle. And then when we get closer to the back left driver's side, I might switch down to the smaller, tighter size because it's going to be going perpendicularly through this instead of at an angle where this larger one's going to go. Just for the record, this is the angle one I'm using, and this is the flat one I'm using. Well, I think you can see now. I actually use the stepper bit, drill the hole, pop the rubber grommet in there, and it's good to go. And then from the front, you can see the grommet right here. So I want to pass the wire back into that channel along here. Have my driver out here. Got these bolts out, just pull the last couple out. This will help me to pass this through here, so I have something to actually see back to the corner there. Took off the gas cap and the plastic liner. Let's see, fed it through to the back. Plenty of space left. I'm gonna go inside, drill a hole on the inside there to run that back to the actual opener. But got plenty of slack. On this end, it's already run. Opener, see it goes right in here. There's a little grommet. And it runs down here. I took the inside of this out so I could actually pass the cable through. I drilled a hole down there above the ducts, and then fed a hanger back and grabbed it through the gap underneath the rubber, pulled it out, tied it to the other end, and then dragged it back through. Was able to go ahead and attach that. I don't know if it's going to be bright enough to see, but it's attached now. All good to go. While I'm looking in here, I went ahead and cleaned up the ends of this hose as well as the return hose, which is actually on the barb already. I'll go ahead and put my hose clamp on there. Haven't done that yet, but it's on the line already, so I just gotta pull it up. It's actually way down there, so I drag it all the way up, put it in place. And I noticed that this end is actually, this is the wrong size hose. It's already attached to the turbo down there. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. Move it around. That's the hose clamp there, jammed by the turbo. This is 5/16, and then this is 3/8 internal. And because it's such reinforced stainless steel hose, I can't make it fit over that barb. That barb is actually glued in place already, so I'm not going to mess with that and get another barb. For now, I just got a step down from 5/16 to 3/8 inch, and then a high pressure short hose I'm going to use to connect and actually slack this hose down out of the way for the 4-inch intake. It's going to connect to the front of the turbo. Putting the radiator in, it's a fun part about using one of these not exactly name brand parts. This is hitting this piece of sheet metal here, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this away because I don't need this piece of sheet metal. Depending on how this goes, this may or may not be in the video. Well, it ain't pretty, but it is clearanced. So I'll touch that up with a little bit of spray paint to keep it from rusting. Got this engine cooling lid cover. Of course, the engine lid needs to be painted still, so I'm not going to assemble that together yet, but I am putting the fans in, mainly so I can run the wiring and everything that I want to plug into the wiring I'm doing in the back of the car. Speaking of which, here is the wiring harness they sent with the kit, as well as the gas shock option. I also went ahead and added them to the front, as you can see here. Those are in place, and no more rod in front holding the hood up. Also holds the hood a little bit more up. So anyways, need to connect the hose clamps. They're back here, so you need to bring them forward. I forgot, I actually have to take this off still. It's just finger tight on there. So I can get the tool down in there. Same thing on this side. This is a little uneven still. I'll fix that. So I have these 3 radiator hoses right here, as well as this chart. I've circled where they need to go. There's one on each bottom as they go up towards the front of the car, and then there's this one on the back. I've replaced this one, this one, this one, the J-pipe with a tuck hose on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and swap those 3 out. Also came in, I don't know if I've gone over this. This is going to be a radiator overflow tank. I'm gonna mount it in the corner where the old fuse box used to be. Also want to update on the radiator hoses. This is kind of funny. Sometimes procrastination pays off. So remember last time I saw these were barely on here and all crooked and stuff. We've been having some record heat here in Phoenix. It's been 110 to 116 degrees maybe one day. And both these things managed to just kind of slide right on there. So procrastination win. Pretty cool. I removed the front engine clamp that I just kind of loosely put back in place. It's laid aside here. I just didn't want to stress that cable too much. I'm going to use my hose clamp tool to get down in here, grab the 2 hose clamps. There's one on this side and one on this side. I doubled them up back there so I'd have an extra one to pull up here once I got these on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, put the latch back in place, and I can put the fan panel in, reconnect the fan connectors on each side, and we should be done up here. So good news. Okay, we got the hose clamps on the radiator pipe. Fans are plugged in and attached. Clamps back in place. The only thing I was having trouble with, these don't exactly line up. I have to get a little aggressive with those with a hammer probably tomorrow. But I think we're pretty much done up here. I took the battery out and it's in pretty rough shape. I have to get a new battery. It was an Optima red top, but it was reading less than a volt, so probably not good there. Also went ahead and plugged in new harness. Got to trim those 2 little blue zip tie ends off there. I used the factory harness support there. Just wrap 2 zip ties around it to keep it in place. You can tell my new loom cover on there. And it goes all the way back here. There's a plastic cover that covers it, but actually all the little, can't see it, but there's a couple holes here. There's 5 on each side. Every single one of them is broken now after years of taking these things on and off. Got a bunch of these things for like $6 on Amazon. That's all the little plastic things. I think some of the MR2 websites sell them for $1 a piece, but $25 for like, or 25 pieces for like $6. Not a bad deal. You can see I got 5 on each side here. I'm gonna pop this thing in place, but can't do it with one hand, so one sec. There it goes. Cool. Now that part's all the way in. There's a screw that needs to go into the, you can kind of see it there to the left of the flat pedal. Went ahead and got LEDs for the reverse lights, And I actually ordered one set instead of both sets of taillights. I got LEDs, little flashing kind. Just, I like the way LEDs look a lot better, crisper, brighter, cleaner, and they're much faster to both come on and go off. Just a way cleaner look all the way around. But since I ordered them about a week apart, they actually changed which bulbs they were supplying. So I had to reach back out to them and say, hey, I have 2 different bulbs. Can you just send me the ones that I need? Because, you know, I don't want to have 2 different bulbs doing 2 different things at 2 different shapes. They're really nice about that, so they just went ahead and sent them out for free. So cool. These just came in from my Toyota parts. This is the 4 screws to hold on the Koki center taillights, and these are the bolts that secure the fan shroud to the engine cover. Okay, I went ahead and put the LED taillights in, secured it with the 2 new screws on each side. LED reverse as well, just make it a little bit nicer. Next thing. Since I already put in my order of random little Toyota parts, I had to go to my Ace Hardware to get these 4 nuts and subsequent washers, since I couldn't find a flared nut like this one. I put the 10mm socket in there for size reference. They're pretty tiny. So I got locking nuts, sprung the extra 20 cents. Baller. Figure I probably won't be taking that bracket off. This is for the bracket that holds the Koki taillights in. It's on the back side here. Let's see if I can see that screw there. There's another one through this hole. And then 2 more on this side over here. There's one, another one in that hole. So I'll put those in, and then we'll be pretty much done back here. I'll have to take this apart for paint, but that's pretty much it. Taillights, the LED bulbs are in, the wiring is run. I did run it through the cabin for now. I think once I pull this out to paint, I might run it around, but just to make sure everything's working, didn't want to have to wrestle that harness back and forth through the side here. So I just used the existing hole for the harness going through the engine compartment, ran it up over the shock tower here, so you can see it. It's all in the shadow, but yeah, I'll show you that later. But the trunk is basically done.